What's up? What's up? What's up? Lemon Pepper Louisville 41 with you once again. Hope everybody taking care of themselves and safe out there and basically living their lives. All right. Tonight we got a special guest coming in for a one-on-one interview. Um, he happens to be my big brother, and he works for the NASA space program. The reason I'm doing this interview because I want to educate the young people on what career path they want to take and what it takes to get to that career. Also, I want to make sure when you choose to do a career like the NASA space program, it will it will basically be hard work. Like you may see people on there thinking it's easy work, but it's not easy work. So I'm just waiting on my brother to come up in the chat room and hopefully he be here soon. I did tell him 7 o'clock, but I do remember I am an hour ahead of him. I'm going to text him right now to make sure. Hold on, people. I'm going to text him right now just to make sure. It's always good to learn career path you want to take because when you want to start a career, you want to make sure career path you take is something that you want to do with your life. Because if you get stuck in a job where you're not happy and you just mad and mean to everybody, it's not going to truly truly want to go your way. So I want to like I said, I want to educate people on what career path they want to take when it comes to life and decisions that they make. Hold on, people. I gotta send the link to my brother. What's up, Jacob? I'm just I'm just here waiting on my brother to show up so I can send him the link so we can have this one-on-one interview. But till then, I know you ready about your Cowboys. I know you ready about your Cowboys, man. Tampa Bay Buccaneers first game. I know you gotta be ready for that. All right, it seems like my brother's in here right now. Okay, okay, Sean. Let me put the link in the chat room. Just hit that link, Sean, and it'll bring you up here. All right. All right, Sean. Thank you. You hear me, Sean?
Yeah, I can hear you.
First off, I want to say thank you for coming along with me and um chopping it up with me real quick. Also, I want to say to everybody, this is my older brother. We're related, same mama, same mama. No,
Yeah, we all related. He's my brother.
normally I start off this thing asking about your what was your childhood like growing up, but since I already know about that, I ain't gonna do that. All right, tell the people what you do for a living and what's your background.
All right, I'm a quality engineer at Collins Aerospace. Some of you guys may know it as Raytheon Technologies. I work in their space division, so I directly support NASA International Space Station, and I do engineering functions. Currently work with the spacesuits and the Artemis and Orion program, which is basically going to the moon and building the international space. I mean, no, well, the new space station on the surface of the moon and the future space station that will be orbiting around the moon. And I'm involved with the new spacesuit that will probably be coming out in the next 2 years or so. So that's what I do. My background is I was in the military, served 10 years in the military. I was doing military products, doing aviation in the military, helicopters mostly, and was technician, mechanic. Got it, got my degrees, couple bunch of certifications while I was in the military, all free, thanks to Uncle Sam. Finished and then worked for government when I got out for 8 years, doing government programs, reporting the Department of Defense, doing some stuff like that. Worked overseas a few times, doing military sales and military support before I got picked up in at Collins where I work now, supporting NASA. So got a little bit of experience in different things, but it's all aviation related. So that's my wheelhouse.
All right, if people say they want to go down the same route that you went when it comes to working for the NASA space program, what would you tell them?
Uh, what I would tell them is, um, I kind of cover this. I have a little TikTok channel. I'm not gonna promote my TikTok channel because I don't care about social media too much. But I cover this on my TikTok channel. I talk about being focused from the ages of 20 to 30. Um, Understanding what your passion in life is, and then focusing solely on that for 10 solid years, where you focus on doing everything you can to improve yourself. So, um, I went to college, um, but I used Uncle Sam. to take care of all this. Well, we were broke. We know mom wasn't going to be able to give us no money, and we wasn't going to have any money. We came from,
Yeah.
being broke. So I used the military as my piggy bank, because one of the benefits about being in the military is they will pay for everything if you finesse, if you know the process and you work the process and you work the system. So the whole time I was in the military, I worked the system. They paid off my student loans. I got free college. I got free certifications. So once I realized I wanted to make a career in aviation, because I didn't join the military just joining the military because um, I was bored and I wanted to have something to do. I saw the military as my vehicle to get where I wanted to go. I knew I had to make a temporary sacrifice for a long term benefit. So what I did was I dedicated myself to getting as many certifications and qualifications and training as I could while I was in the military. And it was all free. Uncle Sam pays for all that stuff. So I got my MP license. I got my project management degree. I got uh, my black belt certification. I got all that stuff all while I was in the military, and I called it collecting coupons. And I used to tell my soldiers this too. What you need to do from ages 20 to 30 is collect coupons. Coupons is any training, any certification that you can get, any degree you can get. There's all kind of stuff you can get online that costs you a little bit of money, or if you have a job that has benefits that will pay for training or reimburse you for training, you should take advantage of those things. But you need to have a plan. Like, so when I went into the military, I knew I wanted to have a job in aviation. I didn't know what I wanted to do when I got out. I figured if the military is going to train me in aviation, I might as well put my career in aviation. It's so vast on what you would do. I didn't know I was going to work for NASA at some point. It was not even on my radar. I didn't think I was going to have a job like this. I just knew I wanted to work in aviation, and I knew that's what I wanted to get my career in. So I did everything on a plan to anything I was going to do training wise or certification wise. It was going to be aviation related. So I collected all my coupons aviation based related, because then I figured as I move along in my career, I will make up my mind in what direction I want to go. And luckily, everything worked out that all the coupons I collected, I was able to cash it in when I got this job, because every coupon I collected throughout my whole career was required for me to get the position I have now. Sometimes maybe it doesn't work out like that for you, but you rather have too many coupons than not have enough. Uh, so I would tell people, regardless if you want to follow the path I went on or you want to do your own thing, the most important thing for is between that ages of 20 to 30, you got to be dedicated to putting your head down and collecting as many coupons as you can possibly collect, and to get as much training as you can collect that you can do to whatever passion in life you want to go or wherever you want to go, so you can have the base knowledge and the base qualifications to get where you need to go. Because when you start trying to get jobs that pay you over 100K an hour, 100K a year, then you're competing internationally, right? You're competing with people in other countries. You're competing with people from other have other backgrounds. You're not just competing against people who come from your community or your state or your country. You're competing from people all over the world when you start trying to get the high price jobs. So what you want to do is make yourself look as good as possible and have make yourself the obvious choice. We talk about that all the time. Um, and when we're I've done interviews for people for jobs too, of course. So we talk about making yourself the obvious choice. So that's what you want to do, especially if you're black, if you're a minority. So
Um, are you happy that the career path you have taken to get where you at today?
yeah, I it there's a thing that says only 20% of people actually enjoy going to work every day. I enjoy what I do. I like aviation. And again, I never thought I was going to be having a job where I work with NASA, and I feel that I'm blessed in order to do that because it was something I was never really gunning for. It kind of fell in my lap a little bit. Um, so I enjoy going to work every day. Again, the legacy I feel I'm gonna be attached to, and the history I'm about to be attached to, especially with the new spacesuit and going to Mars, going to the moon. You know, we're gonna put the first woman on the surface of the moon. I'm involved in that project. I mean, there's a lot of legacy that I'm gonna be involved in that a lot of African American uh, that came before me that I'm gonna be part of that legacy. So to me, I feel very honored and humbled to be a part of that legacy. So I go to work every day very proud of what I do, and I try to honor their legacy of the people who came before me to ensure that black boys that look like me that come behind me can maintain that legacy also, and the doors won't be closed to them. So I'm just trying to push open as many doors as I can so as many black kids can come behind me as possible. So yeah, I'm definitely extremely happy when I go to work every day.
To be honest with you, well, I remember when we were younger, used to be taking those boxes, toilet paper rolls, and building those type of spaceships back when we was younger. I remember you doing something like that.
Yeah,
Like,
we shot rockets. Remember a couple times? I know I did a couple science fairs where I did rockets and stuff, model rockets and stuff. You know, sometimes God puts stuff in your head and you don't know why. I never grew up thinking that I was going to be involved in space. It was just always something that intrigued me. But like I said,
I thought you were gonna be in the Navy. I thought you were gonna be in, cause you almost seem like you were the Navy man. It was Navy this, Navy that, and I thought you were gonna be probably one of the people work for the skills teams, Black Ops, something like that.
well, the problem with the Navy though was the whole ship thing. I couldn't get over being in the middle of the water for 6 months. You know, black people don't like swimming too much, so I didn't like
Yeah,
being on the water for 6, 7 months at a time. So
I did an interview with a Navy man who was in the Navy for 20 years, and his experience those 20 years was not great, but he lived through it. He got to go all around the world, got to do everything he planned to do for the Navy. Um, okay, when you was 18, when you graduated from college. I mean, high school, and you did go to college at first. Did you feel like if you were gone back to talk to your like 18-year-old self, you would probably would did it more earlier than you what you the time you did.
no, I wouldn't change anything that happened. I sit there and think about, you know, what would I, because a lot of people sit there and say, if you could change something about your life, would you change anything? And the more and more, I think about it, the more I believe I wouldn't change anything. Because every mistake that I made led me to here, and I like where I am. Maybe if I regretted where I am now, I would probably have regret and want to change stuff that happened earlier in my life. But I like where I am now, so I don't feel like there's anything I would change. What I would tell myself, my 18-year-old self, is that um, I would tell myself it's okay to be different because we grew up, we were different, and
Yeah.
everybody kind of made us feel a certain kind of way about that. So I would probably go back to my 18-year-old self and say, look, it may not pay off now, but at some point later in life, you being different is going to pay off for you. So don't beat yourself up and try to conform to what you think everybody thinks you're supposed to be. And then be your own man and be happy in being your own man. Because it took me a long time to be happy with the person that I saw in the mirror. Took me a long time to be that guy. And it made me go through a lot of heartache and pain and a lot of struggle. And I have to, and again, this is not a pitch for the military, but the military made me grow up. Um, I thought I
Okay.
was pretty
Okay.
mature.
You talk about the military. When you first entered the military and before you put your name on that dotted line, did your recruiter give you like a type of speech before you signed your name, stuff like that?
No, my recruiter's pretty cool. I tell people, a lot of people, especially in the black community, they get mad about the military and they feel some type of way. But here's the thing, though. What I tell people, everything's a trade off, right? If I work for a Fortune 500 company, right, when I'm 21 or 18 years old, I have to I have to wear a uniform. I have to conform to their rules and their bylaws and their regulations. I have to show up on work on time. I have to dress a certain way. You know, yeah, the military may be more stringent about how I dress and how I look, but the baseline requirement is the same. The only difference is I may run 6 or 7 miles in the morning before I go to work versus someone else that just wakes up and eats breakfast, goes home every day. But the added thing I have is I get free everything. I get free college, I get free training, I get free. There's a lot of benefits to being in the military, but that's a trade-off, right? So you got to understand it's a short-term sacrifice for long-term benefit if you work the system correctly. The one thing that I learned very early, which was good, was I understood what they were allowed to do and what they wasn't allowed to do. So what I tried to teach people, and a lot of people didn't want to learn, was if you understand the system, the military is structured, and in as much as they will try to break you down or discourage you from doing certain things, because you are still bound by people who don't like you, who are racist. I tell people military is a microcosm of society. You have everything you have in society, but just in a smaller package. So you have people who are racist, you have people who are bad leaders, you have people who are sexist, you have people who are rapists, you have people who are drug dealers, you have people, all of that's in the military. You'll just to get a smaller percentage of it, right? And if you go around long enough, you'll run into all those type of people. But the good thing about the military that the civilian side is that the military has a system, and in that system, everybody has to conform to it. So if you know the system and you know the policies, you know where to find them, you know the regulations, they have to abide by them regardless of rank. So I had people who would stop me from going to school at night, who would stop me from going to training, who would try to, but there's always a way around them. So what I would do is get the policy, I would get the procedure or get the regulation that says that you are supposed to allow me to go to school. You're supposed to allow me to do what I want to do. And here's the policy and the procedure that says you have to do it. And I would keep climbing the mountain until somebody who would listen to me would read the policy and procedure, and then understand that they couldn't stop me, and that's how I was able to do what I needed to do while I was in the military. But like anybody else, when you first go in, you're like, hey, I'm gonna go see the world, I'm a party and all that type stuff. Like I said, you got to have a plan. A lot of, yeah, you're young, you should have fun and go to clubs and all that type stuff. You're getting a free paycheck, basically. You got a place to live. You can blow, this military's the only place where you can blow all your money, be dead broke, and you don't have to worry about getting fed, and you don't have to worry about rent. You always got a place to stay, and you always gonna eat. You can be dead broke. So, a lot of people go in and they blow their money and they don't, and they do that for whatever, how long they're in there, and they get out and they don't have nothing to show for it. I decided very early in my career that I wasn't going to be that guy. I was going to be a better person when I left the military than it was when I came in. And, that's the mindset that I would tell anybody to go into, if you're thinking about joining the military or doing that. That's what you need to go in with, that mindset, because sooner or later you're going to get out. And when you get out, you're going to be a young man relative to everybody else. So why spend, it's just like going to college. Why to go to college, get a teaching degree, and then get out and not want to be a teacher? It makes no sense to me. Same thing in the military. Why go into the military in a job that you can't use or you don't like doing when you get out? All that training, all that experience, all that time is just wasted. So why do it? You wasting your time. Go do something else. So
Do you think videos and movies give the military a bad rep when it comes to like basic training and even being in war, stuff like that?
I don't think so, because it's a personal experience. It boils down to the person who's directly over you. We used to talk about it when I was in the military all the time. And I used to tell my soldiers, you are not going to re-enlist because of a general or your commander. You're not, or somebody like that. You're going to re-enlist based on our relationship, the relationship that you have with your immediate supervisor, right? So, for to put it in context, if you worked at Walmart, right, you have an immediate boss, and then you may have a store manager, and then the store manager may have a regional manager. You may see the regional manager, maybe once or twice a month. You may see the store manager maybe once or twice a week, but you'll see your direct supervisor every day. Now, the person that directly affects your daily life coming to work is your direct supervisor. Same thing in the military. Actually, it's on steroids, because your direct supervisor in the military also knows everything about you. Like, I knew the guys under me, their families. I knew their kids' names. I knew their kids' shoe sizes. I knew their wife's names, their wife's birthdays, their wife. We'd have barbecues together. We would hang out. The time you spend with your supervisor, with your immediate supervisor, is 10 times more in the military than you would in civilian life. So if you don't like that person or you hate that person, y'all don't get along, you're going to have a bad experience, period. And and that happens. Now, and that's luck of the draw. That depends on who you get, because you cannot control who's your immediate boss, right? The only avenue you have is you understand that it's a short term thing, because at some point he's going to leave or you're going to leave because of rotation. You don't stay anywhere very long. You get reassigned. So you have to sit there and say, okay, I hate this guy. I don't like this guy. And he makes my life, hell. But how long, how long can I deal with him? Can I deal with him for 2 years? Can I deal with him for 3 years? Or is this not enough for me to even be bothered anymore? So the movies don't show that. They don't give you that aspect. because in the movies, everybody's great, everybody's wonderful. But again, personalities, people, again, you may have a racist boss, again, because it happens. Or you may have a boss that doesn't like you, or you may have, a boss like if you get a guy from Idaho and you from Chicago and he's never seen a black person before, and that happened. I got two guys from Idaho when I was in Germany who had never seen a black guy before in person. Never. And I was the first black person that they saw outside of basic when they saw a black guy for first time in basic training. I was their first boss that was black. So you may get in situations like that, and in the movies and stuff, they don't portray that, they don't show that. So, that's why a lot of people get in and they'll have a bad taste, and you hear horror stories about people's experience in the military because of stuff like that. And again, it's not all rainbows, and I didn't have a great experience the whole time either. I had my good days and I had my bad days just like anybody else. But again, it's a trade-off. What do you want to get out of it? I'm willing to have those bad days to understand that I'm working towards something and I have a mission to complete. And I'm not going to allow these bad days or this bad person stop me from getting where I want to get or do what I want to do. So,
Sean, you still there?
yeah, I'm here.
Sorry, my phone was acting crazy. Um, I was gonna say, what do you tell people who thinking about having a career in the military and be a lifetime career?
Well, I would tell you don't go into the military thinking you're going to have a lifetime career. What I would tell you is go in with a plan, right? Don't go in blind. Try to learn as much as you can. Try to understand the job. Okay. So I would tell you the most important decision that you will make military wise is the job you pick when you join. Depending on the service, because in the Air Force and I think in the Navy, you don't get to pick your job. You have to wait to be assigned what job you're going to get when you get out of basic, based on how you score on your test. In those situations, I would tell you, if it means you have to wait longer to join the military to score high on your test, it's beneficial for you to do that. It's better for you in those situations where your test score depends on what job you get. You need to take the time to score higher and study to score higher on your test rather than going into the military, taking a bad job because you didn't score high enough in your test. And you're going to spend the next 4 to 5 years miserable doing crappy jobs, getting a crappy boss, and feeling like crap, and getting treated like shit because you are expendable because you have a crappy job. And there's a lot of people who do that, especially in the Navy. Um, so I would tell people the job you pick is the most important thing because you want to go to work just like any other job any other day, especially if you're going to be waking up at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning to go run or exercise for 3 to 4 hours a day and then spend 8 hours at work. If that's gonna be your life for the next 4 to 5 years, then you definitely need to enjoy the job that you do when you're at work. Um, so have a plan, know what you want to do, know what you want to do. If you only stay in one term, right? Go in the mindset to say, if I only stay in 4 years, what do I want to have accomplished in 4 years? And where do I want to be when I get out? Now, when you're there, while you're in the military, when you're halfway through your enlistment, you want to make your decision if you want to get out or not. Now, generally, what they'll tell you is 6 months to a year. That's too late. Okay. You need to make up your mind 2 years out if you are not going to reenlist or not. I say this because if you wait last minute to a year to 6 months, you are not prepared and you don't have a plan by the time you get out because the way the military processes people out, they normally just push you out the door because they don't want to be dealing with you because they already got some new people come in to replace you. So they don't want to deal with you. And you're pretty much on your own to decide how you want to land or decide what you want to do when you get out. This is why I tell you at 2 years out, you start personally making your own plan on what you're going to do when you get out if you decide that you don't want to be in the military no more. That way you're not at the mercy of whoever is doing your out processing on what happens to you because you got to find a job, you got to put your resume together, you got to do all this stuff, your medical records, you got to do all this stuff when you get out that people are just going to be pushing you to do because they're hurting you like cattle. And if you don't control that, then you're going to get out and you're going to be standing like on a bus stop after they just dropped you off after you've been in prison for 4 years with $20 in your pocket, and you ain't going to have a plan on what you're going to do with the rest of your life. So this is why I tell people 2 years before you get out, you need to decide if you're going to reenlist or not. Um, to me, it's a waste of time to do 4 years and get out. Um, to me, you might as well not even do it because you didn't gain any experience or do anything long enough to get any benefit out of being in the military. But I get it. If you have a bad experience, you have a bad boss, you got a bad job, I get it. You're done with it. But to me, it's a waste of time to do that. Again, it's not an advocate for people to join the military because the military is not for everybody. Everybody does not need to join. They never need to bring back the draft because some people don't deserve to be in there. But if you do decide to go that route, then you just need to have, again, you need to have a plan, understand what you want to do, understand what you want to get out of it, and work the system to your benefit.
All right. How did NASA actually find you to hire you?
So, it's kind of a funny story. So you know this, I'd worked in Dubai for 4 years doing military sales and stuff in Dubai.
Hmm.
So I came back from Dubai and I did a job interview for the company I currently work for now, where I was getting a job in San Antonio and I was interviewing for a landing gear that uh, when you fly commercial on a plane, right? They don't build they don't one manufacturer doesn't make the whole plane. Like you'll see a Boeing 787. Boeing is the manufacturer of the plane, but there are numerous companies that make the components of the plane, landing gears, wheels, um, ailerons, the black boxes, the controls. All these different small businesses or companies make up those components that make up your 787, which Boeing puts their name on. So Collins Aerospace, the place where I work now, I was doing an interview for a job uh, in work in their landing gear department in San Antonio. Well, it boils down to me and another guy. We were the last two guys for a manager position for quality manager, which I've had before when I worked in the government. I was a quality manager. So I was trying to get that job. I didn't get it. So we had did 3 or 4 interviews. So at that point, I was really mad and upset that I didn't get it because it wasted a lot of time. It took me 2 months with all the interviews and stuff to find out that I didn't get the job. So driving home, the HR lady called me and told me, hey, we understand they didn't pick you. Um, are you open with still working with us, or do you want to try to do something else? Do you have another job laid up? And I said, well, I don't really have anything because I was thinking I was going to get this one. So I'd actually turned down two other jobs because I thought I was going to get that job. So she said, okay, give me a day or so because I have a job that I think you'd be good for. And just give me a day or two before you take something else and I'll get back with you, yes or no. So I was like, cool, but by that time I was frustrated and mad because I felt like they wasted my time just to tell me I didn't get the job. So 2 days later, she calls me back and she says, hey, how would you feel about working with NASA? So I said, well, I had never really thought about it. I said, but, you know, um, what do you have in mind? So anytime, and I tell people, anytime I've done, like I've said, I've been on both sides. I've been on the side of where I've hired people, and I've been on the side where I've been hired. So anytime someone's reaching out to you about a job, you never get excited about it. You want to be mellow. So I was excited about it inside because, again, how many times do you get offered a position working with NASA? So, but um, generally, I try to taper my expectations because you never know, what that entails. Sometimes stuff is too good to be true. So I told her send me the job description, let me look at it, and I would get back with her and I'll let her know. So she did, and I looked at it, and I said, well, like I said, everything I had done in my career, they what they were looking for. I checked every box. So I emailed them back and I said, yeah, I'll be happy to do it. So I went through three more interviews for this position I got now. And then they flew me up to Connecticut, met my big boss, talked to him. That was a good interview. And they hired me on the spot. So that's how I got it.
Like when I found out you were getting a job with NASA, the first thing popped in my head is, oh, what? He gonna be on Wikipedia now? He gonna be on the history books?
Well, it's that legacy, right? Especially with us going to the moon and they're going to be returned to International Space Station, which is basically letting it burn up in the atmosphere, and
Yeah.
building the new spacesuit and all this other stuff. So yeah, there's a legacy that.
So it's a possibility you may be a speaker at some college sometimes speaking to other college students and speaking at their game and stuff like that.
Well, I would like to do that because I feel like in our community, especially black boys, we don't get encouraged to do other things. Engineering, we don't get pushed in engineering really. So I would like to, you know, go to back our community and show black boys, young black boys, that yeah, you don't have to be a football player, you don't have to be a basketball player, you don't have to be a rapper, you don't have to be an entertainer, you don't have to be a comedian. You can be just a regular old guy that came from public school, and you know, do something good in life or do something, make good money. I mean, I make good money. So, I'm not rich. I don't have no big gold chain and I don't drive no Lamborghini, but yeah, I make a good living. I take care of myself. I can take care of my family. I can take care of my kids. So, you know,
I always return. I just want to make enough money to survive. That's it.
yeah,
That's
but
all.
that's what a lot of people said. And I said that for a long time, but you want to have life experiences, right? You know,
Yeah.
I, I've been able to travel internationally. I've gone to Germany. I've gone to Dubai. I've gone to Africa. I've gone to Philippines. I've gone to Taiwan. You know, stuff I would have never done if I would have got a normal job working, working a 9 to 5 at Amazon or Walmart or Kroger's or something. Nothing wrong with that, but I just wouldn't have had the same experiences. So it's just a matter of, yeah, you want to be comfortable, but you also want to be proud about what you do every day. And then you also want to be able to have life experiences. You want to be able to do stuff that you remember and make memories either by yourself or with your family or with your kids, or because that's what life is about, right? Life's not about just going to work every day and sitting at home paying your bills. You want to be able to do something with your work, with your paycheck. You want to be able to enjoy yourself, make memories, have life experiences. Share your accomplishments with your kids and your family or your significant other, whoever that is. That's what fulfills you in life, not going to work every day.
What would you say to people, to some people who are afraid to take that risk in life when they trying?
That's the first thing you gotta get rid of. I tell people, I tell young men and kids, anybody who's thinking about doing something with your life, you gotta be willing to fail. You gotta be willing to take risks, and you gotta be willing to fail and learn from the failure. I mean, I made a lot of mistakes. I made a lot of failures. Um, everything didn't work out the first time, but I tell my boys all the time. I said your best attribute should be working out problems, working out plans, coming up with plan B's and plan C's, plan E's, plan F's, whatever, coming up with workarounds, and because stuff is not going to work out the first time. Stuff plans not going to happen the first time. Mike Tyson used to say, everybody has a plan until they get hit, right? So you walk in the ring and you think you're gonna do something until you get punched in the face. Then you realize, oh, that's not gonna work. I need to do something different. So that's what you need to as soon as possible in your life, you need to get rid of that. You're not gonna be successful in life until you understand that you have to risk. You have to risk it. And you may have to risk it all. There's a couple times where I put everything on the line and it worked out. But a couple times it didn't work out. But luckily I recovered. But you gotta understand, you're gonna have to risk it if you want to be. I moved to another country and worked twice. Started from nothing, left the country, working a job in another country I'd never been to before in my life. Didn't know anybody there, nobody when I landed. So you got to be willing to work to risk it, to risk everything. And you probably going to have to do it more than once. And you got to get over that quickly. Quickly, you going to have to get over that. Now, don't be foolish about it. Be calculated, be educated, make a calculated risk in doing it. Don't just be throwing yourself in a situation where you haven't prepared yourself or you haven't made the calculation. But risk is just part of the business. That's just part of it. So you're gonna have to get over that.
Okay, Sean. My come up and ask Sean a couple questions about the Army, NASA, whatever. So hold on. Oh, shoot. Let me do that. Copy link. So I know everybody. If y'all are watching, please hit that like button and subscribe button. I'm gonna hopefully do a couple more interviews like this, where I can get people who I know who work in real estate, um, all type of odd jobs, and we can also talk about other things too. The reason I asked my brother to come on here because he gives great advice, and he wanted to let people know if you are thinking about having a career in the space program or the military, he will give you great advice about that. So, Sean, we got to talk about the 49ers real quick. What do you think?
I'm concerned about right tackle. Concerned about left guard. I'm concerned about Jimmy because if Trey plays bad, which he will, he's a rookie. He's gonna play bad. He's gonna make mistakes. He's gonna it's gonna look ugly at times. Or is the crowd or is the fan base gonna turn on him for Jimmy? That's my
Because
concern. I
I
would
heard you heard I don't know if you saw the report or not. Trey was not happy that Jimmy coming back.
I wouldn't be happy. I understand why they did it. I get it from a practical point of view, but for Trey, it's not good because Jimmy is a likable guy. Everybody likes him. The fan base likes him as a person, right? But if Trey plays bad, which he will, because he's a rookie, not saying he's going to be horrible. Hopefully he won't be, but it will look ugly at times because he will make mistakes. Is the fan base going to have enough patience with him not to call for Jimmy to come up and replace him? Because if Jimmy comes out there, Jimmy's going to play good enough for Trey. It's going to make it very difficult for them to go back to Trey. Or if Trey gets hurt and Jimmy wins a couple of games, now that Trey's hurt, are you going to be able to put Trey back in when he recovers? Because Jimmy did take now. I'm not here to. I'm an anti Jimmy guy all the way because I think he plays bad, but he plays good enough in Shanahan's system that he can win them games. But they win in spite Jimmy, not because of Jimmy. So I'm concerned that keeping Jimmy on the team, and plus he's split in the locker room because again, Jimmy's a likable guy. He's got history, plus he has a maturity level that Trey's not going to have just because he's an older guy and he's been to war with those guys. They went to the NFC Championship game with Jimmy. They went to the Super Bowl with Jimmy. So he's going to have that Trey's not going to have. So I understand why they kept him, but I just don't think that was a good idea. You know, they're ready. They're
I
ready
think
to win now.
I think the main reason why they kept Jimmy because Seattle wanted to
Yeah,
give him, and 49ers wouldn't down with that.
yeah. That's what it was about. Because if they would have waived Jimmy, he would have went to Seattle, and they didn't want to play Jimmy twice a year. That's exactly why they did it.
And the
I
thing
was
I also worry about Jimmy is that shoulder injury. What
Yeah, but he did that on purpose, though. He could have got that surgery right after the season, and he would have been fine by the time training camp would have rolled around. But he waited on purpose because he wanted to dictate where he wanted to go. He didn't want the 49ers to do it, and it backfired on him because nobody was expecting Deshaun Washington was to come up on the market. So that threw a monkey wrench in everything. Um, but
do you think?
that
Do you think that this whole situation right now, like the situation with Montana and Young?
Uh, not really, because they got rid of Montana when Steve Young sat under Montana for a year, I think, and then
For a
they
year.
traded then they traded him to Kansas City. Montana still felt like he could play, and he could play before they went to Steve. So I don't think that's the same situation because Jimmy Jimmy's not Joe Montana by far, but he's not um Trey is not didn't sit behind Jimmy for 4 years like Steve did. So, it's going to be, again, if Trey would have sat behind Jimmy for like 2 to 3 years, I would feel better about it because I would say, okay, he knows the system at least. We just have to wait and see how he plays. Trey don't know the system yet. So he's going to learn the system and play against play against a hard division against some of the best, players he's ever played against, and a team that wants to win now. Because that's the other added thing is, right? If we were a team that was building and all we wanted to do was get 10 wins, 11 wins, maybe 9 wins, and not expected to win the Super Bowl, it wouldn't be a big deal for him because he can just come in and learn and make mistakes and he would have a lot of runway. He ain't got a lot of runway with us. They want to win the Super Bowl now. So if he's not ready to win now, it's going to be a lot of pressure to put Jimmy in, and that's the problem.
Like when people talk about how Trey's going to do with the team, I look at Debo, Ayuk, and Kittles in the running game, and I look at Shanahan's system. Almost seems like he don't got to throw a whole lot of deep passes. He just go throw little 5, 10 yard passes and let the guys go to work.
Right. He doesn't have to do a lot, but the problem is he going to be smart enough to know where to put the ball? So that's going to be the issue. When you're a rookie, you can throw a 5 or 6 yard pass, but throwing it to the right guy in that 5 or 6 yard pass is going to be the issue, right? So getting the ball to the right person, because that's what Jimmy was really good at. So that's the difference between Jimmy and Trey. Jimmy is not going to. Everybody knew Jimmy was never going to throw the ball deep. He wasn't going to do it because he wasn't accurate. He wasn't an accurate deep ball thrower. We
That's the
saw
main
that.
issue. That's the main issue everybody had with Jimmy was the deep ball. That's the reason why
Right,
they got trade because he can at least throw the deep ball.
right, and he
And
can. But the thing that Jimmy has over Trey is Jimmy can throw the ball short and throw it to the right person. Now we don't know if Trey can do that yet. That's going to be the test. Now, if Trey can throw it to the right person and throw the deep ball, we cooking, we rolling. But we got to see if he can do that.
I think the best test is going to be that week 3 game against the Denver Broncos because the Broncos supposed to have a great defense, and you are going up against Russell Wilson
Yeah, yeah.
because these first, like the 49ers, had no problem winning these first 2 games.
We shouldn't. But if we start off ugly, like then that's gonna be a problem. So I'm hoping I'm thinking by like you by week 3, that's gonna be his first big test, and he's got to understand that his job is not to beat Russell. His job is just to manage the offense and not mess it up. That's his job. All season, somebody on the 49ers needs to tell him, Trey, your job is not to beat anybody. Your job is just to keep the train moving. Don't make mistakes. Keep the train moving. And that's all and be a run threat. That's it. If he can do that, then everybody else on the team will take care of their side and we'll be all right.
Like I'm not asking Trey for his whole 4 year at the start of it to go out there and win Super Bowl his first year, but the way the league is now, if you're not making the leap to Super Bowl as in your second year as a quarterback or third year as a quarterback, then they think you weak, you terrible.
Yeah, but look at the team. Look at the team though. The team's the team's ready to win now. We can't wait 3 years for Trey to get up to speed. Uh, We barely kept Debo this year. We barely kept him.
Yeah,
Where do you think Debo's going to be in the next 3 years or Kittle? We're not going to keep all those guys in the next 3 years or so. We barely
And
kept, and we got
and
Bosa coming up on contract again. We're not going to be able to keep all these guys. So we got to win now.
yeah, because how many opportunities had they had to win the Super Bowl? What, three? Almost
Three,
three.
three. Yeah, they had three opportunities. So, you got to be ready. We can't wait for Trey. That's the disadvantage that Trey has. We don't have the he don't have the opportunity, or he don't have the luxury to wait. He's gotta be ready.
And if Shanahan is putting this team in a great position almost every year now, that he
Yeah.
can look bad. He can look bad for like 4 to 5 weeks, but when it comes down to it, it go by what he does in the playoffs and how a deep run he makes. Because nobody was expecting them to make to the NFC Championship game last year, and they almost had a
No,
chance to win that game last year too.
we were eight, man. We would thought we were gonna be 8-8, 8-9, and then they went on a run late in the season, which was when you're supposed to do it. But I wasn't expecting us to do what we did last year because we were looking bad early in the year. But our
But,
secondary was horrible.
but people got to remember they had a whole lot of injuries before they made that run. When people came back from injuries, look what happened.
Yeah, that's true. But our secondary was bad, and that secondary was the reason why we didn't make it to the Super Bowl last year. If he catches that interception, the game's over. We win that game. But it's hopefully they fix that problem, and the secondary is better this year. Um, but it's going to boil down to if Trey can play. Can Trey manage the offense and not put the defense in bad situations? And can he not turn the ball over? Trey's whole responsibility is managing the offense. Don't turn the ball over. Keep the chains moving. Don't make the mistake. Don't do it every once in a while. Do something special with your legs, but then slide, get down, and don't turn the ball over. That's his job.
Yeah. Well, Sharon, I don't want to keep you long because I know you got a lot. You still got a lot to do before you go to bed tonight. Um, so if anybody got any questions they want to come in and ask my brother, that it's time right now, or else I'm just gonna go ahead and end this and let Sharon be on his way. I guess not. First off, I want to say thank you, Sharon, for coming by to letting people know about the military and about the space program, about what it takes to get there, and hopefully I can have you on again after y'all get done with y'all business with the space too, the Mars mission and all that. Was it rover too? Y'all building a space station on the moon, something like that.
Yeah, we're involved with the rover as well. So we're in a lot of stuff. So yeah, anytime, I'm with you. Love you, brother.
Love you too, man.
All
All right,
right.
peace.
All right.
All right, everybody. I want to thank y'all for coming by. Overland Mac on 9, Tiffany, and Jacob, and also my brother Sean the Great. Um, hopefully I'll do another interview really soon. Other than that, I will see y'all later, and peace out.